Welcome to Real Talk on Talent, a human resources podcast where we talk about talent acquisition, recruiting, and all things hiring. Hey, Dina.
Hi, Hilary.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here today.
I'm always excited to be here with you.
I know.
Sometimes it takes me a minute to get my momentum, but I'm always excited to sit down with you.
So I have my coffee right now, so I'm hoping that can kickstart my momentum.
Also, I just realized that the Hueman mug matches the color of your dress
by design.
Nailed it.
My coffee mug always matches what I'm wearing.
It's very on brand.
Yeah, well, there we go.
As the marketing person here, I'm very proud of this.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
You know, we talked one time about getting custom Hueman scarves.
Yes.
We still need to make
that.
Yeah,
happen. No, I would like that.
Okay,
I would like that, yeah.
Today's technology.
Technology. Mm-hmm.
And of course, we're going to jump straight in to AI.
AI.
Because we keep referencing it. Everybody's talking about it. Literally, as we were sitting down, I got an alert from the New York Times all about AI. Like, it's...
Killer robots?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Not the robots. That we're not going to talk about.
We're going to stay away
from them.
Get away
from AI.
Yeah.
So
we really can't. Yeah.
We're not going to talk about killer robots.
Okay, good.
Because this is the talent podcast.
Okay, good. Helpful direction there. Got it. Okay, got it.
So I would like for us to talk about AI, but specifically thinking about how AI is being integrated into the recruitment process, how you use it, and also thinking about like pros and cons and even just some interesting elements that I'm sure will come up as we talk about AI and how leaders and recruiters can think about it, and maybe even candidates.
Ooh, yeah, love it.
Okay.
Love it.
I do want to start this by admitting that I have never used ChatGPT. You love it.
I do love it.
I feel like we're a good representation of the two sides of AI in the informal adoption.
Yes.
For me, I find so much pleasure in like crafting words and like doing analysis that I just haven't ever thought about where I would want to integrate it into my day-to-day work life. So let's start here.
Yeah.
You are a recruitment operations leader. You work in sales, you lead people, you interface with a lot of different individuals. How do you use ChatGPT? Or I should say AI.
AI. Yes. So you know what? That is actually something that I want to say. I think since AI is relatively new and ChatGPT seems to be the product that everybody knows.
It is the thing that brought AI to the masses in a usable way.
One thing I often hear people saying is, well, how are you going to use ChatGPT in recruitment? So I want to be clear. Like, that's not the right way to say it. So Hillary, don't say that again. Okay. It's AI. Okay?
You know what? I am learning from you.
There we go. There we go. So, first of all, huge fan of AI. For me, what I really like is, as I was explaining earlier, sometimes my brain is like a bowl of spaghetti.
Okay.
And I don't know where to start with it. So for me, AI platforms such as ChatGPT are a great place to organize my thoughts. So I can take a whole bunch of data, dump it in there, and it'll spit out some here are the highlights.
Kind of help you digest it and start somewhere.
Exactly.
It's a great
exactly. But from a recruitment perspective, like there are lots of different use cases for it. I think where I'm struggling right now to actually see it applied is in a cohesive manner within one platform.
Yes. And you kind of see this like race to AI.
Yeah.
Where as soon as it became available to the mass market, everybody started, Snapchat's like, we're going to give you your AI best friend. Yes. And the job boards are putting AI content like recommendations into their sourcing tools. It has absolutely been this, here's this ability. How can we commercialize it? Yes. And I do think that on the recruiting side, there has been a very tight focus on recruiter efficiency. Yes. Which I think is the number one place that AI is really breaking into the recruitment space.
Completely agree. I think that's the best place for it to break in.
Okay, tell me for you, because we actually talked about efficiency last time.
Yeah.
So, and we didn't even touch on AI, interestingly.
We tried to save it for this topic.
We're talk about AI. So when you think about AI, there are a number of studies that talk about like pros and cons, how people play into it, like all that kind of stuff. Give me your perspective on, very tactically, how you think AI should and is most effective at the recruitment level.
Yeah. So when I think of a recruiter, I want to think of what is their highest and best use of their time.
Always.
When you think of anybody in their role, what is your highest and best use?
Yep.
As a recruiter, your highest and best use is not administrative tasks.
Correct.
And that is where I see AI helping out quite a bit.
Okay, so when you say that, I immediately think of job descriptions.
Job descriptions.
What else?
Yeah. So we actually demoed this ATS and I absolutely loved it. But for some reason, it's not going to work for our business needs.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you all the bells and whistles that this particular system had without saying it. So here's what I loved. And to me, it outlined every opportunity for recruiter efficiency.
Okay.
So first, a recruiter needs to create a job, built-in AI to help with that job description. Okay. It does the candidate communication on the front end to kind of screen out candidates.
Email, text, chatbot.
Chatbot.
Okay.
So chatbot, and again, these are often very black and white things that it is screening candidates out for. So basic qualification questions. Yep. I don't want my AI making decisions. I want them following kind of instructions that I gave it almost.
So that's interesting.
No,
so
you know what, though?
But that's not
But
AI.
no, you're right.
Because if they're just following if-then statements, then that's
Correct.
just natural language processing
Correct.
or automated processes. But you do bring up a good point where you said it does the initial screening for black and white elements. So looking for certifications. If it were me, I'd probably stick to those types of like very formal. There is no nuance to it. Exactly. You must have it to take this role.
Exactly. Yes.
But maybe you use AI to further discover like skill abilities or think about how you could translate other experiences in. So it's not kicking them out, but maybe it's helping like digest that experience and bring it forward to the recruiter.
Yeah. So I think that, so just from a pure productivity perspective, there's a lot of time to be saved by recruiters if there is some type of technology having a conversation with candidates saying, hey, this job is 40 hours a week, you have to work weekends, and compensation is $12 an hour. Are you interested in moving forward?
So, but you don't need AI for that.
You don't need AI for that. You know what? Though?
Full stop.
Full stop. Actually, though, here, you're going to bring me up. I'm gonna. I think I need another cup of coffee.
No, put it down.
Pre-podcast. Okay, so when we first heard about AI in recruitment world, I think there were some technologies that came out and they said, this is AI recruitment technology.
Because it sounded nice, but it was not actually.
But it wasn't actually.
Yes.
It is what I'm describing right now.
Correct.
It is where you go in and you program answers and it will screen candidates according to your answers. Okay. That is helpful in some situations. Yeah. Again, those are high volume type jobs where we are screening people on very black and white things. Yeah, okay. Fine.
But you were talking about recruiter efficiencies and how AI ties into it.
Here we go. So recruiter efficiencies, scheduling candidates. That helps. Let's look at candidate availability, recruiter availability. Yeah. Where I really started to get excited about some of the efficiencies were some technologies that we demoed actually had recruiters doing phone screens. AI was listening on their phone screens. As a result of that conversation, it would write up the candidate summary for you. Here's everything we heard about the candidate. It could go ahead and distill that information.
I love, in an ideal world, love it.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing, and I'm totally bought into that. Like, I completely agree. Get rid of all of the administrative tasks so that a recruiter can spend their time building relationships, sourcing for hard-to-fill candidates, etc. We didn't even talk about AI sourcing. That maybe we'll tap it in that if we have time. Two things. There have been some studies, concerns that AI, because AI is completely founded on like the information being fed to it, right? And like, for example, Google has been serving up more like AI solutions. Like, I think it's specifically tied to Reddit is the example I'm thinking of. And this may be a correction section if I'm getting the specifics wrong. But the AI is serving up answers from Reddit. Okay. But as you can imagine, some of the answers from Reddit that are being shown on Google are not great. Yeah. Okay. And in fact, some are just straight up bad. Yeah. So what happens if AI is not actually getting better? And how do you have a recruiter make sure that they're not over relying on the information being served back to it?
Yeah.
Because we know it's not perfect.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that?
So first, don't ever blindly trust anything. So
Life lessons from Dina
life
DeMarco.
lessons, don't put blind trust in something. In this
Except for me.
Obviously.
Okay.
Obviously. In this particular scenario where AI is writing the candidate summary, really what it's doing in that case is it's saving the recruiter. It's allowing the recruiter to spend more time listening to the candidate.
Really paying attention.
Truly understanding.
I like that.
So when you get that summary, the recruiter's not going to just send that summary right over to the manager. It's going to make a couple of tweaks and it's going to say, I'm going to add this, I'm going to take that down. But that saves the recruiter then from having to go ahead and write their own summary, upload it into the ATS, wordsmith it for the client, all of those type of things.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about it that way because I did see, I'm not going to call out who it was. It was a staffing company that was talking about the benefits of AI. And one of the things they said is to serve up a resume and your job description and ask AI to basically talk about compatibility.
Okay, interesting.
Which is an interesting angle because you may not consider how certain backgrounds are tie in.
Yeah.
But two things. One, I feel like that's your job as a recruiter.
Yes.
I feel like a summary could be interesting, but if you're basically saying what's the compatibility on this, like it was like a beige flag for me. Not beige. What is it? An orange flag for me.
Okay.
The other
you do tend to be a neutral person, so I could see how a beige flag would work for you.
I think beige flag is like there is no good or bad.
There we go.
Anyway.
There we go.
The other thing is, what if a candidate has written their resume based off your job description using AI?
Okay.
So they take your job description, they throw it into ChatGPT, say, here's my experience, now make it sound great. Essentially, you have ChatGPT applying to a job or AI applying to a job and AI analyzing the application. So you don't actually have any human intersection there at all.
Yeah. So again,
is that wrong though?
So it is wrong.
Okay.
It is wrong.
Okay.
And this is where people need to be involved in the hiring process. There is always going to be this discerning element. So, and that needs to be a human element of who is going to actually make the decision whether or not somebody moves forward. I think my biggest concern with a lot of the AI platforms is what is the data set that they are learning from, and what are the biases that exist in there, and then to the point you just made. How right now there's such an emphasis on skills-based hiring, where we are looking for people. You don't have to have the exact experience, but do you have relevant and adjacent skills? The idea of comparing a resume to a job description really kind of undermines that concept.
That's interesting. And, you said that the whole idea of skills-based hiring, I think what that makes me think of is we often talk about integrating AI for efficacy. To be able to make recruiters move more quickly, to see more candidates, shorten your time to fill, all that kind of stuff. But I would argue that when you add in AI, you actually need to rethink your process in general. It's not a one-to-one switch. Yeah. You're not just saying, hey, 100%. You're not scheduling candidates, therefore you should have more candidates on your calendar. That might be a byproduct. But saying because you are no longer doing this, the expectation is you're no longer taking notes in your interview with the candidates. So your default may be to be like, oh, great, now it took me half as long to get my summary. I'm just going to send it over. But what's the new step in the process that you can add in to be a better recruiter, to have better relationships, to learn about skills-based, that creativity. But I think it's a leader's job to set the expectation of if we're investing in this tool so that you no longer have to spend time here, it's not just so that you can see more people. Yeah. It's so that you can learn more people. That's not right.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't only want to impact the quantity of work that we're doing. We want to impact the quality of work that we're doing as well.
Quantity will be a byproduct of that.
I agree. Quantity is going to be a byproduct, but you nailed it on the head with what you just said, because people's default is going to be, oh, I'm so much more productive now, more quantity. how do you take the efficiency and the time back that you've gained to enhance your skills and to become a better recruiter in general? Yeah. How are you now, when you're on that phone screen, asking really probing questions towards the candidate? Yeah. How do you spend more time understanding which skills truly are transferable, doing back-end research, whatever it is?
I think that is something that when you read about AI in recruiting, it's so very tactically based. But that idea of, like, I'm kind of stuck on the skills transference, or I'm even thinking about like second chance candidates. Okay. Like people from either that you may just say, oh, you don't meet the qualifications, like whatever. Yep. If we can use AI efficiently, it actually opens up the door for us to better not just find and engage, but even potentially coach and help the business rethink. Not just say, here's a candidate, how they're going to fit in, or you have these skills, so you candidate can transfer these skills into the role to benefit us. But you could even say that it'll allow talent acquisition to go back to the business and say, look, there's an opportunity here, whether it's with someone who's a second chance, or if we start this training program, we can help them into this. Like, it could really help the business do better by the candidates that come in, not just better screen out candidates that don't fit. Yeah. There are a lot of doors that it opens for you. And that's what I think. If you use it right.
If you use it right. And I think that's what we're just beginning to open up is like, okay, yes, we know AI is going to make you more efficient. There are lots of tactical ways. But as that door begins to open wider, what are you doing with that? Yeah. And to me, that's the exciting part.
Do you know, I, as a marketer, I've struggled with job descriptions for a long time. Okay. Especially, they have to sound professional. You have to hit all the important stuff. You're playing into, the algorithms of the job boards and their rules of posting. Honestly, job descriptions have kind of been a struggle where I'm like,
they're just not that fun to write.
So what I would love to see, talk about the fun, creative things we can do. I want to see a job description written in Limerick.
Okay.
Full stop.
Okay.
ChatGPT could do that for you.
That's what I'm saying. So instead of just being like,
oh, yeah.
At Hueman, we're a great place to work. Do you have these 7 skills? 3 of them are preferable. You could start on Tuesday. Like, instead, use ChatGPT to turn it into a limerick.
Spice it up and let's see.
Yes.
So here we go.
Once was a company in Nantucket or whatever.
I am totally down to beta test this. Like, let's do it. We'll go rogue. We'll post the job on our own.
Not rogue. Not rogue.
Not rogue.
We never go rogue.
We don't go rogue.
Ever.
No. Nobody has approved this podcast. I'm sorry. But actually, I actually love that idea.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's just have fun.
Think about what the candidate is. One, what do they actually need to know? And I do agree. Like, I'm a big believer in, like, to the point. This is the role. Like, here's what you'd be doing. Here's what you need to know. Here's what would be kind of helpful if you knew. But I'm also thinking about that slog of going through, especially right now, is like we're shifting more to an employer market. I'm seeing more and more people on LinkedIn who are like, I'm looking for work. I've applied to a bunch of jobs. How nice would it be if you see the same marketing specialist job description 17 times, and then all of a sudden you get one that's written in rhyme?
Yeah. Well, I think we are totally going off the rails here, but I'm into it.
We're not, though, because we're talking about the impact of AI.
AI, there we go. Okay. So, I do think it's a unique opportunity for companies to tell a little bit more about themselves in a more authentic way.
What do you think about AI in like an analysis stand? No, not analysis. What I mean is like screening. Yeah. So like you have your database and you have AI layered on, and they're kind of analyzing all of the candidates in there to source up potentially qualified individuals. Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about AI sourcing?
So, initially I'm all for it, because here's what I'll tell you. I do feel like there's an opportunity. There are candidates within your database that are good, and it's a gold mine, and databases are often untouched. Yep. What I worry about and what I think about is like there's that Workday lawsuit where Workday's AI, they were being sued because they were saying the bias in the system. So what I don't know enough of is how is it serving up these candidates, and what is helping it to make that decision? What's its learning process?
And I guess that is true for AI in general. So what's the responsibility of the human?
Yeah. So,
And is that, I'm sorry, answer, and then I've got
Okay.
something that popped in my head.
yeah. So I think for me personally, until I can become comfortable with the AI platform and understanding how it's learning, what's its data set, what are the biases, where I want to use AI is not on decision making, but I want to use it more on,
So you would not use it for sourcing?
I'm not saying I wouldn't use it for sourcing,
Okay, that's fair.
but I'd be foolish not to use it for sourcing. I mean, listen, if everybody's adopting AI, which they are, you will get left behind if you do not adopt it. I am just recognizing that there is potential risk out there with it.
Yeah. I have seen more and more companies starting, kind of like companies have security policies, having specific statements around expectations for AI use.
Yeah.
So kind of like there are expected behaviors of how you show up on social media, of how you use your work computer, that kind of thing. They're starting to have more formal company positions on how AI should be used and can be used in regards to work.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll tell you one kind of interesting use case here. So my recruiters are often required to recruit for a variety of job functions. Right. Sometimes, which we've stopped doing this because we found it didn't work, they were being asked to recruit for a job function that they have never recruited for before. Yeah. And what I found they were doing was they were going to ChatGPT and they were saying, what are a list of questions I can ask the hiring manager to understand this position and a list of questions to ask the candidate. It is, but not if you don't actually take the time to understand the position itself. Sometimes it can be a shortcut to a detriment.
Yeah, and if they serve up like incorrect information or in a way that if you said it, it's like a trigger, you don't actually know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I do think that's part of the risk as well with AI.
But I do think it, to your point, like knowing where to start, to go in and say,
Yeah.
hey, here's this new position. Like Whitney, who did we just hire on the marketing team?
Emery?
No, the DevOps. No.
Oh, that's still in the works.
No, but what's the role?
Oh,
See, I'm blanking on the title. It's a very
You
specific,
ladies need a cup of coffee.
But so this is the exact, see, the fact that we can't remember the exact title, we just hired we have an open position for a very specific digital data analytics, specifically as it ties into the revenue cycle and CRM management, reporting, that kind of thing. Yeah. So if you are a recruiter who has no marketing experience, no data analytics experience, and you sit down to say, okay, I have to go find someone. ChatGPT could be like, okay, great. Let's give a little bit of context about CRMs and like how you look at revenue cycles and maybe go look into this. And so it could open up a door to start saying, here are the things that are going to tie into this. And really
Yeah. I think the important part is like, it's fine to ask ChatGPT what are good screening questions, but make sure that the fundamental learning is there too. So again, it's not just relying on AI.
What are you screening for? Not what questions are you asking in the screening process.
And it's really making sure that you're partnering AI with the additional learnings, the foundational learnings of it. So it can accelerate people's learning process. It can make you come up to speed on something much more quickly.
Yeah.
But it is important that you actually take the time to absorb the information as well.
I completely agree. Okay. So reference back to our generational question, our generational podcast.
Okay.
Gen Zers are not going to Google to find answers. They're going to TikTok. They're using TikTok as like the number one search engine. Okay. Which we didn't touch on this, and I have a lot of opinions about. TikTok or ChatGPT?
So, if I am correct, ChatGPT's data is a couple of years old. Like, they're not getting the most recent stuff.
Okay.
So I would actually pick TikTok.
You would?
Over ChatGPT.
Interesting.
That being said, I have never been on TikTok before, so...
You haven't?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm not a TikToker.
So then that's a little bit of a... Well,
I'm on MySpace.
That's a throwback.
Tom is my one
I'm
friend.
on Zynga.
Sorry.
Zynga's the real throwback.
Never even heard of that one,
okay.
No.
Interesting, because... So
actually, I mean, no, I would do ChatGPT. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends what you want. If I want current information,
it's an interesting thing because you are still going to an intermediary to analyze and process information and bring it back to you. Anyway, We went off on that one a little bit. Any other thoughts on AI in recruiting?
Yeah, I think so. No, I think there's a lot of opportunities with it. I think things to consider and things to think about is how can it easily integrate within your workflow. While there's a lot of different technologies out there, nobody wants to work in 20 different technology platforms, so don't just buy the shiny object. And with the capacity that people have from it, figure out how you can better them in their professional career and bring new skills into it. So
I think it's a great way to wrap it.
boom, boom.
Thank you, Dina.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap on AI for today. We're definitely going to have a correction section next time
Well,
because
I'm going to avoid this.
Okay.
The job title is Revenue Operations Analyst.
Ah,
I should have remembered that.
RevOps analyst.
RevOps. See, I
Yeah.
think it said digital. Anyway, RevOps
Okay.
analyst.
There we go.
Thank you, Whitney.
Mm-hmm.
We have no correction section from last time.
No. I mean,
Listen, we are nailing this. I
trying to
really
say-
hope we don't age out of correction section because I truly enjoy it.
Correction section.
Just for posterity.
Just for fun.
For some reason, I've taken to looking at the camera and going like this lately.
Why not? You have a beautiful face.
There
Show
we
it
go.
off. Whitney, hot takes.
Hot topic.
Last time was hot, so
Yes.
we've got
Yeah.
something to live up to on this one.
This is actually a hot take from someone you may or may not know.
Okay.
Not on a personal level. If you do, let me know. Anyway, so this is from a comment that Neil Druckmann made about AI. He is the creator of The Last of Us.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
HBO just released a series on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Good series.
So he said, he voiced his support for AI, saying that it's going to give them the ability to do motion capture right from home. It reduces both costs and technical hurdles and opens the door for them to take on more adventurous projects and push the boundaries of storytelling in games. The problem is a lot of people took that as, quote, oh, then all you're saying is we need less people to pay wages to.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on it?
Yeah. So, maybe they need less people, which okay, don't be mad at him. He's using efficiency to run his business better.
Well, I guess let me frame it a little better.
Don't be mad.
Let me frame it a little better. So where's that fine line between reducing cost and improving efficiency and keeping people on top of mind?
Yeah. Yeah, great question. So I think this is really similar to the conversation we were having before.
Okay.
And it is that, yes, AI may replace some careers, but it may also give other individuals the opportunity to elevate the work that they're doing. So I don't know enough about game making other than I played Hogwarts Legacy. That's really kind of
Honestly,
my gaming experience.
strong.
But, to me, this is, again, the opportunity to how do you get rid of the mundane and maximize other people's skills?
It's interesting because it made me think of, and I don't remember which movie it is, was not qualified for the Oscars. And this was back in the day because they used CGI.
Okay. Oh.
And now all movies are made with CGI. We're going to have
Yeah.
to look up that, Whitney, so we can put that for next time.
Mm-hmm.
And so this may be something that becomes a little bit of a non-issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, here's the other example I'll use is Lucasfilms.
Okay.
They have a fascinating, there's a fascinating series, I think it's on Netflix, of the entire history of the special effects group that did all of the Star Wars stuff and was critical in CGI development and whatnot. And through their evolution into computer graphics and now the way that they do The Mandalorian, they don't even have sets. They have these super high-tech TV screens that they can project the background on. So they don't even do set building anymore for these. That's why they're able to produce these movie level experiences for TV series. Yeah. So if you think about that, all of these people who did all of the puppetry, who did the clay, who did set, they're no longer being used. But there was an adaptation of many people to say, how do you take that knowledge of the physical and bring it into the digital space? So bridging that gap. So I think there is a skills transference. But I also think that this is something we've faced as a society over and over again.
Agreed.
We don't have telephone operators anymore. No one thinks about that, you know? And
Yeah.
so I do think it's going to be a shakeup. I think that we're going to need to, as an education system, think about what do skills look like. There's kind of that whole thing.
Yeah.
The other thing, thank you for letting me run with my
No,
my nerdy side of the house.
I liked it.
Because the other piece is, I referenced this before. I think about the book series Dune.
Okay.
New movie, yes, great, but read the book. It's amazing. And the whole thing is essentially that they referenced it in the past that like technology, they kind of like said, screw you technology, like we're giving up on you. So then they trained the human mind to be able to process like a computer. So I sometimes am like, are we heading on this path where eventually we're going to get so digitally driven that we're going to say, let's go back and like use the human mind to get us where we need to go? Okay. It's not relevant. I just had to bring it up because I love it.
Listen, I'm for it. I actually just watched Dune 1 and 2 on the play, and now I'm starting the book next week. So
good.
There we go.
There you go. Okay.
There we go.
Love it.
Yeah.
Read
yeah.
it in high school. It's one I go back to all the time. It's fabulous.
I would totally put my brain towards like a prototype. Futuristic human computer power.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Like, so you have like super processing
Exactly.
brain. Yeah, obviously.
Random note, I do believe that telekinesis is a possibility. We just haven't figured it out yet. Dead serious.
So
using AI to unlock the entire brain's potential, maybe?
Potentially.
I like where your head's
well, where I was going, well, let's save that one.
Okay.
Because I do believe that there's a lot we don't understand. I have never taken that to the telekinesis side of the house, but I'll follow you there.
I'll move this coffee mug as soon as we're off here.
Freaking do it. Anything else on that? On AI and jobs and...
No. Mm-mm.
I will say, and I've said this before, and I'm stealing this quote, and I really need to find out who said it originally, or if it's just one of those internet things that pops around. I want AI to do my laundry and my chores.
Yeah.
So I can spend time making art.
Okay.
I don't want AI to make art so I can spend time doing the
100%. Yeah.
So that is what I want.
Yeah. I'm for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dina.
Till we meet again, Hilary.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.